So the history and tradition of this mace here, it was once called a gada, and that's from the Hindu warriors in the Hindu word. And it was Hanuman, the monkey deity, which is kind of akin to Anit's philosophy of the primal nature. Anyways, Hanuman was the monkey deity of the Hindus, and this was his weapon, and his weapon used to fight evil. But for the actual Hindu warriors, this was their weapon out on the battlefield. Now, they wouldn't use something as heavy as this. This is a 15-pound mace for battle, because it would be really slow. Now, it would do a lot of damage if it hit, but in the meantime, they'd be really exposed. So they used a lighter version of this with pointy edges oftentimes and ridges and things that would do a lot of damage. The mace that they trained with, however, they figured out that if they added extra weight, oftentimes by using a bamboo rod and then tying and latching a stone onto that rod, they could create kind of an overtraining situation where they were working out with something heavier than what they were actually using. Kind of like a baseball player will use heavier bats to kind of warm up and practice his swing. The Hindu warriors would use a heavier gada to train for using their lighter gada. And then this was adopted and carried on all through the kind of Persian and Hindu tradition up through the Pelwani wrestlers. It's still an art that's even practiced today in a lot of the Middle East, and really was at its peak in kind of the early 1900s. Since then, there was a bit of a drop-off as far as usage, and then it started to pick back up with the advent of MMA and how prolific that's become. Because of the functionality of it, because of how much it mimics real-life movement, it's become a favorite for MMA fighters and people just looking to get functional strength and functional power.